Cool. Hello. How are you? Who's first timers here? Hands up. You are welcome. You're welcome. Welcome to another CDR session. My name's Tony Wachiku. For those of you who are new here, including yourself, this is a space for producers and artists and people who love music to come together, compare reverb tails and compression techniques, but most of all, have a safe space to be with like-minded people. We always also have the pleasure of meeting and talking to amazing producers who have contributed to black music in this country. And without a shadow of a doubt, this guy has paved the way for black music in this country. Jeremy Sylvester, thank you so much. Give it up.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Cool. How are you doing, sir?
I'm very well, yeah. Been really looking forward to being here, yeah.
So I think we've got a few fans in the room today.
Okay.
But, you know, for those of us who are new to you,
Yeah.
talk a little bit about how you got into music, you know, as a young man, and what inspired you to actually get into music?
Yeah, I mean, you know, growing up, my old man was in a disco band in the 1970s. It's called the JALM band, and they had quite a few top 10 hits throughout the early 70s. So you know, my dad was in the band. He was like one of the leaders in the band, and then my dad, got 12 brothers. Half of them were in the band. Do you know what I mean? So my dad was a bass player. Bass, guitar players, whatnot, trumpet players, whatnot. So I kind of grew up around them, kind of in their heyday. As I was going through nursery school, whatnot, infant school, junior school, and just seeing them on Top of the Pops, man. Growing up and kind of surrounded by music, surrounded by, my dad taking me to rehearsal studios with him, up and down the country and whatnot, and just being surrounded by all the musicians and stuff. So yeah, I guess that's where it kind of started for me, as far as kind of getting introduced to the music and embracing it and whatnot. Yeah.
Were you the envy of the playground?
I was, especially. Yeah, I used to get special treatment in the nursery school, man. Yeah, I was. Yeah. Especially, yeah.
So. No, it's important to know that, man. Yeah. Certain perks.
Yeah. Well,
So I guess going from your dad's music, which was obviously mostly instrumental, I guess, right? 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
And you chose a music that was essentially quite obviously digital in terms of using sample-based instruments. Were you ever into, playing yourself? Were you playing in bands yourself?
Yeah. Well, thing is, even though I was surrounded by the music back then, I didn't really see it as like a career as such, because that came really, really late for me. You know what I mean? So, but obviously, being around it, loving the music, love music, and especially growing up in a household, because my parents are from Grenada in the Caribbean, so I was brought up around. Yeah, my dad was doing all the disco music and stuff, but I was also growing up around like soca and calypso. Do you know what I mean? So, that was my household, not so much the reggae. So yeah, it was a thing where I didn't really see it as a career as such till later on. But yeah. And
what got you the bug?
What got me the bug? I mean, the bug was always there, but it just wasn't, I didn't tap into it. And I was just too busy. I wanted to be a car designer. Okay. Do you know what I mean? As geeky as it sounds. That's right, yes, right. You know what I mean? So, I was kind of, done an apprenticeship. I used to work for, I'm originally from Birmingham. And so I grew up around, I used to work for Fort Dunlop tires and whatnot, boring shit. Doing an apprenticeship, 5-year apprenticeship, but only doing like a year and a half, thinking, what the hell am I doing here, man? This is not what I want to do. But after the whole disco thing with my dad, after the whole heyday, growing up later on down the line, my dad was always he had recording studios. He had a recording studio in Handsworth in Birmingham, and it became a little hub for the community. So a lot of like reggae artists, just artists, just musicians and sound systems used to all kind of pass through his place. And so I just kind of like, after work, I should just kind of like go up there just to see what was going on, just to kind of absorb the atmosphere and the vibe, because it was very lively. So, but yeah, after doing the apprenticeship for about a year and a half, I thought this is not for me. So I kind of like, me and my dad decided to start a And this was timeline wise now. We're talking about 1990 now, 1991. So this is where the rave scene, the raves and breakbeat scene, kind of like was kind of morphing into the jungle. So I kind of came in right there. Right, when as soon as they started putting reggae samples in breaks, I was in. So like, you know, and so that's where I kind of started just messing around after work, just going to the studio whenever I got time, you know, to kind of get in there after they finished their sessions. I was just kind of just sneak in there and just have a little mess about, you know, because my dad's equipment back then was like, you know, it was Yamaha NS10 speakers, you know. It was an Atari ST.
Yeah, the classic.
Running a C-Lab creator or notator software. Everyone was using Cubase, right? So I started off using notator, and so that kind of like messing around with that, and you know, had an old S900 Akai sampler, and that was basically the main body of what was there, you know, because I couldn't really, you know. The studio was more kind of instrument based, so you know, whatever technology they had there, I just kind of jumped on that, and the Akai S900 and the C-Lab creator. That was my main body of work then, you know. And so yeah, just kind of just dabbling around, just messing around. Didn't know what I was doing. I didn't go to college. I didn't go to university. I just watching my dad's you know, engineers, just watching them and just picking up things whenever I got the chance. Go in the studio, have a little mess around, make mistakes, you know, and that was it, man.
And did you release any of that music at that time?
Initially, no. I was just messing around, and then me and my dad set up a record label called SAS Recordings, and then basically, you know, I was doing a lot of jungle stuff, and then we found a distributor called Deltra Distribution. They were based in London at the time, and we hooked up with a guy called Calvin who was running it. And gave us the opportunity. He loved what we was doing, so we just started just putting out vinyl, just like, you know, just putting out a couple of releases here and there, you know, on the jungle tip really, and then it was getting a bit of traction because we was giving it to people like Groove Rider, who was kind of coming to Birmingham quite regular. So we just so happened, my dad caught him one time and said, look, come down the studio, you know, my son's doing some, you know, got some beats, you might like it, you know. And then so we come down the studio, and he's loving what he was doing. At the time also I was working with a guy called GE Real, and you know, we came up with a few tracks. One of the biggest tracks we done was a track called Screwface. Because like basically
very apt name of the time.
Yeah, you know, we was like just experimenting, like just basically just sampling, like we're just trying to think of new different ideas. We thought let's just like sample some films, man. So we found a film, you know, there was a Steven Seagal film, Marked for Death. Guy called Screwface, we don't know no Screwface. Find him your fucking self. So we thought, you know what, that sounds deep, mate. Let's just take that. I mean, that was the main foundation of the track, and then we just kind of like just throwing in beats and whatnot. Yeah.
Nice. So exciting time for you, I guess. You know, got distribution deal. You've obviously got the endorsement for your old man, which obviously makes a big difference.
Yeah.
When did you start to think, you know, music was your thing, and actually going from, say, the jungle stuff to then thinking about different music and moving into, I guess, the more kind of UK garage thing?
So we had a little stint with the jungle stuff on the label, as well as our label. We signed some tracks to a couple of other labels. One of them was Rank Records. What's it called? M-Beat. On M-Beat's label, M-Beat's dad's label was Rank Records, and so we started releasing stuff with them. And then we had a few tracks licensed on a few compilation albums as well on a couple of other Birmingham labels. And then, but what happened was with our label, we was making a lot of noise, and then all of a sudden now the distributors went bust, and we lost loads of money, and you know, we were still kind of looking to recoup the money that we, you know, from the records that we sold. The Screwface track sold like 35,000 copies, and that's unheard of nowadays. Vinyl, you know what I mean? And then so yeah, we kind of like, you know what, me and my dad's relationship kind of, split, severed a little bit. I thought, you know what, just
because of that.
Well, not because of that. It was just, it was other things as well. I don't want to go too deep on it, but yeah, and then so I thought, you know what, I need to get out of Birmingham. So, but I was making, as well as the jungle stuff I was making a lot of house stuff, like I was really influenced by the early US kind of early US housey stuff, like the early Roger Sanchez, Roger S, the early Strict the Rhythm, Nervous Records, 8-Ball Records, those kind of proper stuff. So I was making that stuff on the side, just for my love of that music, and then and then I started sending some stuff to a label called Nice and Ripe, and they was really loving what I was doing, and I found out about Nice and Ripe. Because don't forget, I wasn't a DJ, right? So I was always been a producer. My friend was a DJ. I used to go in his record collection, and I'm picking out records that I like from him, what I liked, and I'm looking at the labels of all the tracks I'm loving. I'm thinking, hang on, Nice and Ripe. What's this about? Yeah. I'm thinking it's like a US label, right? But I'm looking closely at the telephone number. It's like a London number. I think, what? Yeah, all right. So I started contacting them. And then I'm realizing a lot of the music on that label I like was a guy called Grant Nelson. He was banging out some really, really nice stuff. So my stuff was quite similar. So I started contacting that label, and they liked what I was doing. And then I had a few releases on some of their subsidiary labels, Indie Records, because you had Nice and Ripe as a main label, and then you had Deep Trouble, Zest for Life, In the Air Records, FX Recordings, GPR Records, all these little sister labels, right? So, but you didn't want to, they didn't want to release much stuff on the main label yet. Just start releasing stuff on the other labels first, just to kind of build the name up, and then gradually kind of get releases out on Nice and Ripe itself later on down the line. Yeah. So literally, but so when I started making stuff with Nice and Ripe, Grant Nelson's relationship with the label guy, kind of severed. They split up. I kind of moved from Birmingham to London, became their in-house producer, and I started just churning out tunes left, right, and centre, man.
Okay, well let's hear something from that era.
Yeah.
If that's all right with you.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
All right, 1 second. Yes, yes. Talk to me, man.
What do you want to know?
Everything.
How I made it?
Yeah.
Well,
So so first of all, how's it feel hearing that now? You know.
no, it's it's mad. I mean, it's mad though because a lot of my old tunes are getting played now. Still, it's crazy. So this is one of them. So this particular track I actually done with Paul Benjamin, and Paul Benjamin was my partner in a lot of my tracks early in the day as Dub Syndicate and some other names we used to use. So yeah, it's that's interesting hearing it. Yeah.
So was this what was your setup with this kind of track back then?
So yeah, back then this is one of the early setups I have. So basically, this was done in the Nice and Ripe studio, and they had a basic setup as well. So literally all they had was like they had the Atari ST. They was using Cubase, but I brought my C-Lab Creator down, so I was using that as my my controller, controller whatever. And then they had S900 and an S9, and then I bought my S950 Akai S950 sampler, and then my S3000 Akai sampler as well. And an Emu Proteus synthesizer. And we had a Roland JV 1080 synthesizer. So a lot of the like the sax and a lot of the chords and the Rhodes and the clavs. We used a lot of clavs as well. We used a lot of those type of sounds. So a lot of it came from the JV 1080 as well. The bass sounds. I had like this synthesizer called the Oberheim. I forgot the name of the synthesizer.
Was it a rack one?
Yeah, it was a rack one.
Matrix 1000.
Yes, Matrix 1000. So there was a particular bass sound in there that I used to love, man. I just thought, I'd just pull that out. And that was the one I was using all the time for bass.
So of the time, that was obviously the years of rack samplers, right? Whether it's rack Akai samplers as you mentioned, and the rack synths. Yeah. And I guess a lot of the sampling you did, obviously things like sample packs weren't available then. So a lot of so what was your approach to gathering?
But also as well, I mean, as well as I was using the synthesizers, the JB10s and whatnot. But also I was sampling it heavily. Like literally, my record collection, was quite varied. Not for DJing, just I used to buy records just for like gathering samples. So I'll buy like a jazz record or hip hop record. I'll take a snare from like some I'll find a little gap, in the track where I can just, that's a lovely snare. But sometimes, some of these old records, you'll have a little bit of crackle in there, you know what I mean? But it kind of added to it. Just gave a bit of rawness. So a lot of my sound was quite very, very raw because a lot of the samples I was using was like just took from vinyl, so it didn't sound clean at all. But it just added to the the energy of it, And
I guess it's about you putting your own kits together, assembling your own. I mean, have you got a particular filing system for your samples, or are they just random?
I make different kits. I mean, obviously back then I was working completely different. My setup now is completely different to what it was before. But I used to get into the habit of making kits anyway. Even back then and to this day now, it's a lot easier now. So I got different kits with just different sounds on, whatever direction. I got 2-step kicks, 4/4 speed garage kits or whatever. Sometimes I'll make a tune from scratch and just make things up as I go along. There was no set formula or way of doing things, man. Yeah.
So obviously all those hours in the studio making lots of tracks under lots of different pseudonyms. What's that about pseudonyms? What's that with all the pseudonyms?
Well, you know what? That's the number one question people ask me,
Brilliant. So what is it about?
No, it's like, because I was working for Nice and Right. I was the in-house producer, right? So I was in that studio 24/7, man. So it didn't make any sense for me to be just putting out tracks on one Jeremy Sylvester, one name all the time.
But people would think you're really productive.
Well, yeah, but it just would have just flooded the market. That's the way.
But you're doing it anyway.
I know. I know. It was just like a little. It was our mindset. We can't put everything on one name, and it was a marketing thing as well. I'll make certain tracks like obviously some of the God stuff was more kind of speed garagey stuff. You got the Strictly Dub stuff was more kind of 2-step or whatever it is. The Sly stuff. It's got its own little style. So that's the signature for these sounds came over time anyway. So it just kind of developed into its own. We just stuck to those different names, and yeah.
So as you're building a track, so you're thinking about what pseudonym is going to have that track, or is it, or do you think, you know, what's your approach? What was your approach back then?
I would just basically just, I'm just making music, man, and then either myself or the label will put it on whatever label they see fit, or whatever name they see fit. I didn't always have the choice to kind of decide what label I went on, yeah. But so yeah, it was a kind of joint thing. It was a joint thing, really, on that.
I hear that. So obviously, part of the whole UK garage thing was obviously the nightlife and the clubs.
Yeah.
For those of us who weren't around then, shed some light on what it was like. Well, first of all, what was the scene like? But also, what was the scene like as a producer hearing your tunes in some of the, you know, biggest clubs at the time?
The thing is, right, I come into the clubbing scene late, right? So when I was in Birmingham, there wasn't much of a scene like it is over here in London, right? So at that time, that was probably one of the main reasons why I moved to London, because I wasn't being satisfied musically. I wasn't being surrounded by the kind of music I wanted to hear and the people that making this kind of music, right? So London was like I needed to be there. So when I moved to London, that's when I seriously started raving. All right, like seriously went crazy, and then I hooked up with because Carl Tough Brown, Tough Jam, Matt Jam, right? A lot of producers, a lot of DJs, used to come to Nice and Rock office to pick up promos, yeah. So every now and again, because Nice and Rock Studios were literally the bottom of the road of the office was a house, like a normal house in a residential street, and at the bottom of the road there was like a little industrial unit, right, on top of a kebab shop. Do you know what I mean? So that's where the studio was, and every now and again I'll pop down the office, say hello, and I'll see all these DJs, Dream Team, Tough Jam, all these people, right? So I hooked up with Cole Brown there, and he was loving my music, but what I realised was George Power, the guy that run the label, he didn't want to introduce me too much to too many people. He tried to keep me like that.
To himself kind of thing, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, but I hooked up with Carl there in the office, and then he took me. I used to make tracks, recording onto that tape, and then I used to go with Carl Brown on a Friday morning down to JTS cutting plant, cut the dub plates off so he can play out in the clubs, right? So for me, not DJing, for me that was like being able to kind of have somebody like Carl play my tracks in a club. Like literally, I made the track the night before, and then I'm coming to him, cutting it, and then on the evening, I'm rolling with him to Twice as Nice or whatever, and I'm hearing him drop my tunes. That was like, whoa. So he kind of give you a little bit of a, you just like literally some certain tracks were really, really raw. So like, okay, you'll play a track, I think to myself, you know what? Oh, the bass is too loud on that, man. I need to bring it down a bit. Oh, that intro is just too short. I need to make it longer. Or the vocals are too high. I'll bring it down a bit. So that's me in the club hearing it, like there and then. So that was a massive help. That was a massive, massive help. So he kind of, so I kind of got into the whole club scene with him initially, and then I went my own way.
So were you in the DJ box at this time, or were you silent speakers? What was your position to kind of
both? Behind the decks. Yeah. Outside the decks, I used to go around the club just listening to it at different angles. You know what I mean?
And obviously, it was a really exciting time what was it like? Raving in at that time.
Yeah, it was
because it really exploded right in the early late 90s, early 2000s.
It was very,
really,
very
really exciting.
Yeah. It was very it was new, it was exciting. It was like our sound, it's like our UK sound. This is our thing now. This is what I'm saying. We was all very, very proud of this is something unique. Right, and this is something that we can call our own. So it's like, that there was definitely a vibe about it. Back then as well, it was kind of like the fashion was kind of brought into it as well. Probably more so than nowadays. I don't know, but back then it was like all that was part of it. The whole dressing up and stuff.
So what was your threads? What were you saying? Machino there. What were you? What was?
I didn't go too crazy. Nah. Kept it simple.
What was the blingest thing that you
oh, mate. Oh, my God. Now you're asking me questions now. The blingiest thing. Well, my Sergio Zucchini top.
Okay. All right. Going for the classic then.
The classic vintage look, yeah. That's me.
No, brilliant. And those are, I guess, they were brilliant times in terms of British black music. And in your mind, what was the difference between, say, I mean, producers can hear it, but in your mind, what is the difference between, say, the UK garage thing and the US garage thing? What gave the UK garage its own identity?
Yeah, I mean, that whole kind of early UK, the 4/4 style, was very much based off the US stuff, which was more kind of vocally, but we brought more of a rawness to it. So as far as like stripped down vocals, cut up vocals, heavy on the bass line, because that was part of our culture. You know what I mean? It's coming from the reggae and the sound system, the jungle and all that anyway. You know what I'm saying? So we brought that, so that kind of made it our own. So for me, it was just more of a stripped down, more raw, more a rawer version of less polished. Because, you know, a lot of the American stuff are really polished, man. There's some top engineers and whatnot, and really good musicians and stuff. And not saying that we didn't, but there was far ahead of us as far as that was concerned. But we just, you know, we brought our own as far as like, you know, made it more club friendly as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear another thing from that era. Hold on a second. Let's do that one. Inside. That's nice. I think Mary would be very happy with that one.
Yeah. Well, see, this particular track was like, I think it was one of the first tracks I started using the MPC on the drums. Like, I was using Akai. I mean, I had an MPC 60 back in the day, and then like I didn't really use it that much, but really, and then it's only until I got my MPC 3000, I started really just going deep with the drums, with the early kind of stuff like this. So all the drums were done on the MPC. I sampled. There's a lot of sampling, as you can hear. Obviously, you probably recognise the sample that's in there, Mutual Attraction, old like 80s track, yeah. Just chopped it up.
Change, yeah.
So, you know, that was one of my favourite tracks growing up because my dad used to play them styles. You know what I mean? So, like, I was like, yeah, man, you know, let me see what I can do with this. But, and obviously the vocals were from, I think it was Mary J. Blige, I think. I'm not sure. Might be
Real Love.
Real Love, yeah. So, yeah, that was one of them tunes where it kind of like, I'd done it. It was under the name of Strictly Dubs and didn't really think too much of it. Sometimes you do tracks. The thing is, some of the best tracks, right, that you do are the ones that you don't even pay too much mind to. It's just like, it's just a vibe in the studio. All right, next one. I'm on the next one already. Like, it's just one of those like off the cuff, woof. And sometimes the ones you spent too much time on, right? And you want to overly think and like, oh, this is going to be a banger, and it fucking never is. You know what I mean? It's just like certain tunes, like even now, like, you know, I'm playing out a lot lately. I wasn't DJing before, but I'm playing out a lot lately. A lot of the youths, they're playing my the track called Shake It Up. It's old speed garage thing, right? Like back then, didn't do nothing. But it's like all of a sudden, in the past few years, everyone's going nutty about it. Do you know what I mean? So,
and do you know why? Is there something?
I don't know. It just got picked up. I don't know. Some, you know, social media. I don't know what it is, man. But it's like I have to play that everywhere I go. And this is another one like that. I have to play this wherever I go. It's crazy.
Do you feel haunted by these tracks?
Nah, haunted? Nah. No, not at all, man.
I mean, how's it feel playing? I mean, let's talk about that in a minute. Let's get to this bad boy right here. Yeah. So you talked about this track being instrumental in using the MPC. Before you show us your chops. What was it like making the transition from, say, a DAW-based production setup, like using Notator, C-Lab, etc., to then going into using hardware, something like an MPC? What was your decision for switching, and what are the advantages for switching?
I mean, you just have to move with the times, innit? Obviously, you know, with the new software, the Abletons, the Logics and whatnot, you know, you could do far more. It was very, very limited with Notator and stuff, and it was just a natural transition that everyone was going through, you know. Literally, you know, even though I transitioned to like the Logics and stuff later on the Mac, I was still using my old outboard gear and stuff. I still had my JV my 1080s and my EMU Proteus and all that kind of stuff on the Oberheims. I'm still using that, but and then, you know, just gradually, just cutting time. But don't forget, I was sampling heavily. I was sampling a lot.
So it's more like the sample tool you're using went from, say, using the Akai, right?
Yeah.
From the Akai to essentially using the
MPC, yeah. Just throwing in samples into the drum machine and stuff, and just playing around.
So talking about throwing samples, can we throw something together?
Yeah,
if that's all right with you.
Sure, yeah. I mean, little beat I can make from scratch.
We don't want size sports right now. Sorry. Do you want to bring up on the screen? Who's playing tonight? So what we've got here is, talk us through what we've got here.
So I've just literally just got, you know, I just got a few kits here. I've got my MPC X here. I'm just gonna literally make it from scratch. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
So the MPC X is a combination of hardware and software, right?
That's right. Yeah. So this is literally my baby right now. So I usually start when I'm making any tunes. Usually 90% of the time, I usually start by making my drums in here, right? I get a nice little groove going on, and then sometimes I might bounce it into Ableton later on, or sometimes I might just have the MPC running alongside Ableton, you know, in sync. So I'll have it'll be a separate song arrangement going alongside the song arrangement in Ableton or Logic, depending, you know, it depends, you know.
Is that because you want to keep the groove of the?
Because drums, sometimes, you know, you could be I could be making a beat on here, and then I'm happy with it. I feel like this is really, really good, and then I've got it running alongside Ableton or Logic or whatever, and I'm making all the rest of the music in Ableton alongside this. And I'm thinking, it sounds really, really good. And then like later on down the line, as I think, you know, I'm near enough completion of the music side of thing, I might think to myself, you know what? I want to change the drums. Like if I bounced it in from the off, then obviously it's set in stone, you know, in WAV, right? It's set in stone, and you can't really do too many changes to it. But at least when you have this running alongside your DAW, you can always make changes whenever at whatever stage in your song arrangement. So I find that really good as well, because you know, sometimes where, you know, the drums could be at a certain thing from the beginning, and then later on it just totally changes because you've added a lot of sample in there later on that kind of made you think, you know what, that will sound better if I change the kick, or that will sound better if I put that little change the snare, or just change the way the snares are played in that way. You know what I'm saying? It just gives you more flexibility. But not everyone works like that. You know what I mean? I know everyone works differently. But that's just the way I like to work, and I've always worked that way with the MPCs, just to have that flexibility. Cool. Yeah. But all right, let's have a little mess around then. Like a little 4/4 thing, isn't it? Fuck it. So I got the tempos 130. I got it over 4 bars. So when I'm making beats, I literally it's cliche to say, you know, most people say, oh yeah, I'll start with the beats and stuff like that, and then from there. But I like to start with the kick. Getting the right kick drum for me is very, very important. Sometimes it dictates to me whether I'm going to go in a 2-step direction or a 4/4. You know what I mean? I just thought, oh, that sounds nice. I think I'll make a 2-step track. You know what I mean? So. Just gonna make sure I name all my tracks so you know where you are.
Good on you. And with the pattern, are you using is there a particular groove that you're using in the MPC?
So literally at the moment I've got it on 1/16th, the swing. But when I'm making like 4/4 beats, I usually have the swing around about, percentage wise, around about between like 60 and 64, 65. Yeah. So at the moment I've got a default that 65, 64, so I'll leave it there. All right. And
so what you're tapping there is the old
so I like to use the not repeat.
Yeah.
As well.
That's on triplets, right?
Yeah. Right now it's on 16. Yeah. Right. I use a lot of hi-hats just to kind of give it some swing. Sometimes
layering it up, you right?
Yeah, just layering it up with the shakers, and sometimes I like to put the shakers across the pads and just messing around with the velocity. So I've got a velocity going on here.
Nice. I guess the great thing about using the MPC is that you've got 16 velocities, right? So each pad is
yeah. So I use the velocity a lot. It just kind of gives it more of a swing, and and then I just keep going on from now, really. And once I've got a basic groove going on, then I'll just open up this with Ableton or Logic, and just start building the bass line and the chords around it. But obviously still got this going on. So I'll start with just a basic groove to begin with. I don't want to put too much in there, because I'm guilty of also like overloading the drums. You don't need to. Sometimes it's just good to just strip it back and just keep it basic for now. Add the sounds on top, right? And then maybe add other sounds to the drums later on if need be. You know what I mean? So that's the way I work.
So in terms of the processing you might do, is the processing something you'll do within the MPC? Because obviously it's got a lot of DSP functionality now, right? Sometimes, yeah. Or sometimes I do that, and also sometimes I might just make a, like I say, like a 4/bar pattern in the MPC. I'll just bounce it as stems into Logic or Ableton or whatnot on separate tracks, and I do the EQ in there sometimes as well. But it all depends on how you want to work it. You might feel that at the moment with the natural sound that's coming out of it, you think that's good enough, and sometimes it is. And I guess it keeps the rawness, doesn't it?
Yeah. So depending, there's no right or wrong way. Just you just go with the feel, really. Yeah.
And is there any time that you get stuck? For example, you're sitting in front of the MPC there, and just ideas aren't just coming through.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of times where I've kind of like just walked into my studio, switched the computer on, and I think, you know what, Jay, go home, man. Go and watch some Netflix. It's not your day today. You know what I mean? Or just go to a club or something. So get a bit of inspiration, and then come back next day, and you're like, okay, yeah, this is it now. You just feel it, innit? Yeah.
So don't dwell on it. Just do something else. Yes.
Yeah. Don't try and force nothing, man. It's got to come naturally. You know what I mean? Yeah.
See if these guys have got any questions. Cool. You ready? You're ready.
Test one, two. Okay. Any questions from anyone?
Yeah, one is right up here in the front.
Yeah, so you were talking about using samples a lot, and I guess I've kind of stayed away from samples through like confusion about legality and like what to do and being an independent artist. I just wondered if you could talk a bit about like how you've experienced like getting samples cleared or not getting samples cleared. And
I mean, there's two ways you can use a sample. You can use a blatant sample, or you can find a little sample and get, chop it up, just manipulate in your own way.
So no one knows.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, yeah, vocal especially, obviously, you got to be really, really careful, right? But you're taking a chord riff from a well-known record. Yeah, chop it up, man. Disguise it, filter it, detune it, chop it up, put it across the keyboard, replay it. Do you know what I mean? So it's just that's the way to do it, really.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Cool.
Anybody? More questions?
Question at the back.
We got one at the back.
Hi, Jeremy. I just wanted to ask if you might be able to talk a little bit about the kind of sonic differences between making specifically different styles of garage, like from two-step to speed garage to old school 4/4. There's been so much diversity in your catalogue and particularly on your most recent album as well. So I'd love to hear a bit about that, like, different approaches to kicks, bass, EQ, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like the 4/4 stuff, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, when I start, people say, start with the drums. I start with the kick, yeah. So the kick's very, very important for me. Like, it's determining where I'm gonna go. So getting good quality kicks, whether it's from splice or sample packs or whatnot, is great. But I tend to use kicks that are like not too much low end in it. It's got a little bit of depth with the mid range. It's a little bit low end, not too much. And then it's hard to say because the 2-step stuff, the kicks tend to be, for me, more mid-rangey, whereas like the 4/4 stuff tend to have a little bit more weight on it. That's the difference I could say between the two. So, but like I said, but it's not set in stone. You just kind of like, just kind of find what sounds good in your ears at the end of the day. You know what I mean? There's no right or wrong way of doing it. Yeah.
Thank you for your question. I mean, on that tip, do you find that you might start a track in what looks like it's going to be in a 4/4 direction, but then you add an element and then suddenly, oh, hang on, this is a bit speed garagey now. Hang on. Yeah. Do you end up? Does that happen at all?
That happens a lot. That happens a lot. You think you're going to go around one day. I'll try to, like I said, when I'm going to the studio, I'm very like, I don't always go into the studio, right, today I'm going to make a speed garage track. I don't. Most time I don't do that unless I'm getting commissioned by a label to like do a speed garage mix, you know what I mean? But most times when I'm being creative and by myself in the studio, I like, just literally just whatever I'm feeling. Because I have to go by feeling, I have to go by the vibe. I've got to hear something, to kind of give me the inspiration to take it to where I think where it needs to go. So yeah, that's it really.
Cool. Thank you. Cool. Anyone else? Cool. Couple more here.
How did you find the transition going from producing jungle into producing garage?
Oh, that's a good question.
Was there a lot of producers in the early 90s who did that transition as well?
Yeah, there was quite a few. I mean, this is the thing. Like, my background is jungle, as you know, right? So when I started making the house stuff, especially the speed garage stuff, I was literally using my same floppy disks that I was using, like, from the jungle days, but I was using it on on a 4/4 beat. You know what I mean? So so there's a lot of producers like myself, like Steve Gurley, and like a handful of other people that kind of like their history, their background is from the jungle, man, and you can hear it. The whole kind of speed garage thing. People say, where does speed garage come from? For me, you hear people say about Armand Van Helden and all this kind of stuff. Nah, it was a lot of the early jungle producers like kind of ventured into house, but the unknowns that people don't really talk about. Like, they kind of like started experimenting and using those jungle sounds within the 4/4 beat, man. And I was kind of one of them, So yeah.
I mean, on that, on that question, was there okay, I'm doing 4 to the floor now, I'm done with jungle? Was there a switch, or was it a gradual?
Well, I mean, jungle's in my roots anyway. That's never going to go away. Even though I probably didn't make jungle, I haven't made jungle for a little while. It's still there with me. It's just that the fact that I kind of I was with a label, and that was the sound that was and that's the sound that was popping right now. You know what I mean? So I just kind of stuck to that really. But it's I would never. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm actually looking to do another jungle album at some point, like a Dubtronics one. You know what I mean? Because I get the odd occasion where I get people ask me to do like a jungle set, right? And it's very, very rare. When I do play a jungle set, it's like, just brings back some memories, man. I'm like, oh my god, yeah. I need to jump back on this again. But yeah, it's always there.
Nice one. Thank you for your question. Cool. There's a question over here.
Do you have much like personal or experimental music that you haven't released that you might consider putting out at some point, or like, how do you find that sort of experience of making stuff that maybe you think isn't for a particular audience, it's more for yourself?
Yeah, I've got every other track I make is weird, and I've got a weird folder, which I haven't really. Yeah, I should really do that. I should actually, put out some weird stuff, man. Just like an album, just all that kind of stuff. Like, just really, because I just like trying different things and just seeing things, just trying to think out the box. You know, it might not necessarily be commercially viable for me to put that out, or a label would just be like, what the hell's that? But for me, I'm like, that's fucking, you don't know what you mate. That's banging. Oh, okay. Put it in the weird folder then. Save that for a later date. Or put it in my Bandcamp or something, you know. Yeah.
We're going to hold you that today, you know. Aren't we? We're expecting an experimental folder album from you. Yeah, very soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your question. So in terms of your career, I mean, what's been really great to see is that obviously you've been, despite the highs and lows and transitions and the recycling of industry and scenes, and, you know, you've kind of been consistent in lots of different ways. I mean, what's the things that's really kept you going, you know, particularly in times when it's hard, right? You know, whether it's hard creatively or hard in terms of dealing with this industry. Yeah.
I think in this day and age, you need to be have multiple hats, and you need to be able to kind of see. I delved into the whole sample pack thing early on. I started making sample packs on MySpace. Do you know what I mean? And like, I thought, let me just try it out. Let me just sell my sample packs, put it together in a folder and sell it on MySpace. And then like, I was selling thousands of them. I was like, bloody hell, this could be a thing here. So I've always had an entrepreneur. I think you need to have a bit of an entrepreneur head as well. You need to be kind of like, you got to be able to kind of try different things, and just try and, you know, in this business as well, you got to be able to do multiple different things, right? And understand how the industry works as well, not just making music, but also the whole publishing side of things as well, the songwriting, the sample packs, you know what I'm saying? You know, you got to be able to do all these different things to kind of like, because there was a point where it kind of like, when the record shops went bust, and distributors went out of business, man, everyone was like, what's going on there? I was even myself was like, what am I going to do? I don't know anything else.
Yeah, because obviously back then physical product was like the mainstay.
Thing.
Yeah, sure.
So the whole digital thing was really, really new, right? All I knew is music. That's all I know, right? So I've got to make it work somehow, right? Some people are like, you know what? I'm going to become a postman or whatever. You know what I mean? And fair enough, do their thing. But I was like, you know what? I've got to think of ways to how I can make money out of this, and understand other areas of the business where the money is. Licensing, synchronizations, video games, you know what I mean? All these type of things you got to think about, and which are very lucrative, and you can make a really good living out of it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
So what's been your biggest earner, would you say?
What, in like track wise, or I don't know.
Is it through licensing? I guess through garage compilations, yeah?
Compilation albums, syncs for TV, adverts. I've done all that, video games. I've done a Tekken game back in the day. Okay. I was like one of the first people to make music for Tekken. It was me, Dillinger, Lemon D. One of the first Tekken video games. Mm-hmm. The first one, the very, very first one. On JVC Records. Do you know what I mean? So that was quite interesting, and they're still getting paid for it now. It's crazy. So yeah, these type of things you got to think about, and if you want to make a career out of this music industry, you got to understand the music industry. All right, it's very hard to sell digital nowadays and make a living off it, but you use it. You know, if you're able to DJ as well, that comes hand in hand as well. And everything helps each other. The fact that you're putting out MP3s, putting out music that helps promoting your name, and you got DJ work off the back of it. Mm-hmm. It's all works hand in hand. Making a sample pack or whatever, just all comes hand in hand, and you use it to your advantage, and you can make a good living. You can make a good living out of it. Yeah.
And I guess you're enjoying there's always going to be a garage renaissance, right? Every few years. That's you can obviously benefit from that, but I guess for you get to play out a lot more than you were, right? What's it like playing out nowadays?
That's what I mean. Yeah, I mean, literally, I was not DJing at all back in the day at all. I just was not interested. I'm a studio guy, man. I just love making beats, but later on, you had to do it, man, and I got into it, and I enjoyed it, And I probably do more DJing now than I'm producing at the moment, but I'm starting to turn that back around again because I want to get back more into the production and putting out stuff, and because I think I enjoy that more, to be fair. Yeah.
And what kind of sounds can we hear from you moving forward? What are you working on?
So I've got a new label just started called Garage Paradise, which is actually I do events as well with that. My next one is on 31st of May up in Ton of Bricks, or it's called Bricks now, in Cold Harbour Lane. So that's the next one. I've been doing it at Basing House for the past 3 years. So pushing the label, pushing that brand. So I've got a string of releases coming up from the middle of May this year. Just working with different people, different artists, PVC, what's the Main Phase, what's the name? Oh God, there's quite a few people. Different artists. Jackie Bennett, I've just done a track with Jackie Bennett. She was working with Tough Jam back in the day. So yeah, just putting out a string of releases, over the coming months, and then by the end of the year, there'll be a new album as well.
A new album?
Yeah, new album, yeah.
Okay.
On, yeah, so, you know what I mean?
Not the Experimental Folder album.
No,
that's
not
no,
quite.
that's coming afterwards,
coming.
right?
That's coming.
We're gonna hold you to that.
Yeah, that will come. That will come.
Okay,
That will
cool.
come.
All right, Jeremy, thank you so much for your time, man. Give it up, man.
Oh,
one more? Oh, sorry.
Jeremy.
Sorry.
Jeremy, how you doing?
How you doing, mate?
Quick one. What interface are you using to plug the MPC Akai into the Apple?
What interface?
Yeah.
It's just going straight in. I'm just using
Just
a normal, just a normal,
don't need a firewire or anything.
normal
I've
normal
only
sound
created
card.
anything on my phone, and that's it.
Yeah, I've got what do you call it? Bloody hell. SL. Oh God, I'm shit with names.
I did have one question myself though. 727, 909, or 808?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Has to be a combo, man.
Yeah. Which one if you had to marry, divorce, or kill?
Oh mate, I like the 700. I like the 700s. I don't know. Yeah, I mean 999. It's got to be that. Really, it's got to be the 999.
Wait. Was it the ride or was it the clap that got you?
Ooh.
I know. I've studied all these motherfuckers.
Yeah, the clap. You can't beat the clap in there.
It's the clap. It's the clap.
Yeah, you can't beat the clap in that.
Listen, you got a boo clap all the time. Anyway, let's go.
The hi-hats in the 999 as well. Yeah.
Only at CDR, man. Those kind of questions. Only at CDR. Only at CDR, man. I love this big man. Any other questions from you guys? Yeah, question in front here.
Thanks a lot for that, Jeremy. It's great to hear you speak. I've been listening to your music
brother.
for years, so yeah, incredible to see how you make your work as well. My question's more about artistry. Obviously, you mentioned that you were learning to become a car designer, which has artistry linked to it. You can see Photoshop on your laptop, which is, I'd assume, is part of artistry as well.
Yeah.
Would you consider yourself like a full artist in terms of the imagery, the videos, etc.?
Yeah. I think now. Yeah, I've learnt. Nowadays, you got to have multiple hats on. But I've always been a creative anyway, whether it's musically or whatever. You know what I'm saying, design or whatnot, art and stuff. But yeah, I've been heavily getting into the whole video editing and stuff, and the Photoshop, as you can see. So I had to learn all that myself. But I think that's a good thing, especially nowadays. Instead of outsourcing it, just keep the cost line low, do it yourself. That's definitely something that's very, very important as an artist nowadays, I think. Yeah, and, setting up your own label as well is another thing. It's very important. Yeah. Got full control, and also owning your own catalogue, making your music and owning your own catalogue. You know what I mean? Don't be think about, don't be sucked into like trying to sign your catalogue to EMI publishing when like most of them don't even do nothing with it. Try and own it yourself. That's what I say.
Okay. Wise words. Thank you for your question. Cool. A couple of other people.
I think there was a couple or one last person. Anyone for anyone?
Sure.
I work in a record shop. Hey,
Oh,
how are
hiya.
you?
You're right.
And I see your record's still selling.
Okay.
I'm wondering, do you use vinyl still at all?
You know what? Yeah, I've got back into the vinyl. Like I've started to get a few gigs and people asking me to play vinyl. So yeah, I've definitely got back into it now, and I actually enjoy it more as well. You know, a bit rusty, but yeah, but I enjoy it now. Yeah, definitely.
Are you making vinyl for your releases as well?
Oh, well, yes, I do limited copies now on the next album, and then some of the releases that I'm putting out over the next few months. Some of them will be like, well, I will definitely have some limited vinyl as well as the digital, which I'll be selling via my Bandcamp and a few little, shops like Phonica Records and a few little other shops like that, So I tend to do like 300 copies and just like, yeah.
Nice one. Thank you for your question. Maybe chance for one more. Yeah, cool. Go for it, man. Mr. Northwest.
Yeah, hi Jeremy.
Hey,
really
mate.
enjoyed today, mate.
Thank you, man.
Really good talk. Yeah, I've just got a question because I actually have been like buying a lot of your releases.
Yeah.
So the Shall Not Fade releases, how did that come about? And was the sound you were going for was kind of like you had a certain set of tracks or style that you were going for?
Well, actually, that came about through my agent. To be fair, they was working with them, but yeah, they had the label. It's actually Time Is Now. It was their sister label.
Oh, right.
To Shall Not Fade, and I think they were just starting off, and basically, yeah, they was just looking for some tracks on there, and they kind of they like my music and whatnot, and yeah, I just like what they're doing. They booked me for a couple of their events as well. In a couple of little mini festivals. So
yeah, they're based in Bristol, right?
That's right,
Bristol,
yeah. So I just like what they're doing. They're really kind of passionate about the music and stuff, and pretty clued up.
Wicked label as well.
Yeah,
wicked
brilliant label.
Yeah,
Some really good
you've
stuff
released
on
it
there.
abroad, like quite a few different labels, but
that's right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few obviously garage labels, isn't it? But
yeah.
Shall Not Fade's one of them. But
absolutely,
cool.
absolutely.
No, it's wicked though. Cool. Right,
thank you for your question.
One last one.
Well, final thing actually, you've obviously given some words of advice in terms of ownership of catalogue and, what other advice would you give to producers and artists here in this day and age?
I would say believe in your style, believe in what you do. Like literally, yeah, it's all right to borrow influence from people and artists. It's all great, we all do it, but try and develop your own style and believe in your style. And be consistent with it. I think consistency is the key with that. Just like literally just kind of develop your own style, your signature, your sound, and believe in it, and just put it out. Put it out, man. Put it out. That's the only way you're gonna know if it's gonna work or not. So that's what I would say. And yeah, like I said before, just understand the business, how it works, and that's it really.
Jeremy, thank you so much for your time, man.
Thanks for having me, man. Good, man.